You probably heard that condo market is pretty tough right now, and it's tough both for buyers and sellers. And today I would like to take a look at the key factors that make this difficult for buyers and sellers. So number one is increased inventory. Currently in Santa Clara County, it's 50% more condo listings on the market than it was at the same time of last year. Sellers competing between each other and buyers have more options, which is good, but they don't have urgency to move forward. And this leads to the second factor, which is it takes longer now to sell condo than it was before. Again, the average days to sell condos in Santa Clara County, it's about 55 days, but there are properties selling for much longer. I know about condos staying on the market for 5 months, dropping the price but still not getting offers. Some of them selling pretty fast, so average is 55 days on the market. So the next factor is higher interest rates. Higher interest rates are high anyways, but for condos it's always higher than single family homes. And currently the interest rate is between 6.75 and 7.5% for condos. So you know the payments are pretty high. If you know someone who bought properties a few years ago, let's say 2022, when interest rates were much lower, like around 3 to 4%, but they bought it for higher price, believe it or not, their monthly payment is still much lower than someone who buys today for lower price. So that's why interest rate really affects the affordability for the buyers. And again, if they cannot afford it, the pool of the buyers are lower and condo stays longer on the market. One more factor that affects condo market is strict lending requirements. Lenders have more regulations around condos than around single family homes, and they read HOA docs, they read insurance documents for the HOA. If something doesn't meet their requirements, they won't lend on this condo. I personally had situation last year with two of my clients, one in Mountain View, another one in San Jose. And in both cases, lenders dropped us in the middle of the transaction because they could not issue the loan for these buyers. So we urgently had to find some other lender who knows about this problem and can lend on this property. We got lucky, we found these lenders, but it was nerve-wracking for everyone. And I highly recommend everybody, if you're buying a condo, put a loan contingency, even if you know that you won't have any problems getting it. If bank told you that, still have loan contingency just in case. One more factor, it's rising HOA dues. You know that insurances went very high in the last year, and for HOAs it sometimes went up 2, 3, 4 times, reflecting in the monthly HOA dues. And also for buyers, it's a big factor, because if before they could pay for HOA $400, now it's $800 for the same condo because of the higher insurance or higher maintenance costs. That's why it's a big factor for them to decide, first of all, if they want to buy this property, or second, if the lender will give them loan with this high HOA fees. So all of the factor leads to affordability. We have smaller pool of buyers who can buy properties, buy condos right now. And that's why more condos in the market, smaller pool of buyers, and this leads for pretty tough condo market. If someone bought a condo, let's say in 2018, 2021, 22, when the interest was pretty low but prices were high, they still pay less monthly payments than someone who buys right now for lower price but with the higher interest rates. So if you really need to sell, be ready for some losses. If you really need to sell, let's just get together and talk about what options do you have and figure out if this is the right time for you to sell. But if you don't have to, I would advise you to stay where you are, pay your mortgage fees, and then when the market changes to your favor, sell at that moment. So if you want to talk to me, call, text, email me. Let's set some time and see your options. Talk to you soon.